So 2nd and 9 now for Chicago with Cedric Benson in the backfield with Greasy. Devin Hester on the reverse. It's actually Benson, the ball carrier, up the middle. Everybody looking at Hester when he's on the field, including the play-by-play guy.
That was a good fake by Brian Greasy. But that's the thing, though, and the Raiders, they have to be aware when Devin Hester's on the field as well. And that's what they said. We've got to identify him every time he comes on the field, because he's right now their biggest threat on offense.
4-yard pickup. It'll bring up 3rd and 5 now for the Bears. It's Adrian Peterson in the backfield with Greasy. A 3-receiver set. Peterson takes the swing pass and is stopped shy of the first down. Chris Johnson and Thomas Howard combine on the stop for the Raiders. With Fargas in the backfield. McCown keeps it with all kinds of running room. McCown past midfield and taken down at the 40 by Adam Archuleta. A 34-yard pickup by the quarterback.
And Lane Kiffin was telling us they've got to do something offensively to get the momentum. Watch, they're just going to fake the handoff inside to Fargas. And this is just the college spread offense. And McCown just keeps the ball. No one expects him to do this, but he's a mobile guy that has this kind of ability. And watch at the end of the play. He doesn't slide. He tries to get every yard he can get.
A career-long run by McCown. This is Fargas hurdling tacklers. He's down with another Oakland first down. Hunter Hillenmeyer made the stop for Chicago.
And that's what this Raiders offense is. They're a power running football team. And that time was great block by the fullback, Orrin O'Neal. Right there is a rookie from Arkansas State, and Lane Kiffin, he just raved about that kid and said that he goes in there and he just smashes guys on those inside runs. He got a great block.
2nd and a yard. They mark him just short. New Raider Tim Dwight in motion. And the handoff to Fargas is good for a first down this time. Oakland moving the ball effectively to start the afternoon, but they have shot themselves in the foot more often than not on the offensive line in particular.
They sure have, and you can see that offensively they can get things going. Their problem is they lead the entire National Football League in penalties. This offensive line does. You got like Barry Sims and Cornell Green. Those guys are 1st and 2nd in terms of false starts, and whenever they get something good going, they've killed themselves with penalties.
1st and 10 for the Raiders from the 27. Fargas again, maybe a gain of a couple of yards before being taken down by Brian Urlacher and Anthony Adams. It's a big story around the Raider camp this week and the past couple of weeks. The fact that Justin Fargas, who began the year buried on the tailback depth chart, is now the guy getting the primary work at running back. And
he's just beating those 2 other guys out. Lamont Jordan, Dominic Rhodes. He's come in, he's played better than them. He's run harder, he's been more productive. And Lane Kiffin told us, hey, it's all about production. I'm going to try to play the guys who are producing for us.
The rookie tight end Zach Miller in motion, and McCown is down with a loss. It's Lance Briggs, the 2-time Pro Bowler.
You know, the Chicago Bears defense, they know that the Raiders are a running team, and they're going to put 8 guys in the box. The perception about the Bears is that they're strictly a Tampa 2 type of defense because Lovie Smith comes from Tampa Bay and that whole system down there, but that's only on passing downs. On 1st and 2nd downs, run downs, they've got 8 guys in that box to stop the run. Now here they're going to play cover 2 because it's 3rd and long.
3rd and 15. Oakland has struggled as a passing offense this year, ranked 28th in the league. McCown out of the shotgun. Over the middle of the aforementioned rookie tight end with yards after the catch, gets close to the marker as he's tackled by Lance Briggs inside the 20. It's the 12th all-time meeting between these 2 traditional powers. 1st and 10 for Chicago as they start the drive at the 10. And the handoff to Benson nets him 5 yards to the 15. We check in for the first time this afternoon with Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
Guys, I'm sitting here with Raider Hall of Famer Howie Long watching the Cowboys and Giants. Tony Romo, first possession of the game, ends in a Cowboy touchdown to Tony Curtis, and quickly hits 7-0 Dallas on top of the Giants. Back to Matt and JC.
Kurt, thanks. A good one going on there, and it looked like Tony Romo got hit in the chops as he threw that touchdown pass. 2nd and 5 here for the Bears. Greasy's pass is caught at the sideline. Desmond Clark The Bears' second leading receiver makes the reception for Chicago.
Yeah, and he's a guy they've got to get involved in this game early. But Cedric Benson, a lot of talk about him and the run game and not being productive, but he does a good job on that last play of picking up the blitzer, giving Greasy time to throw the ball outside.
So after the first down reception, 1st and 10 for Chicago. Benson again at the back of the eye for the Bears. And this is the Texas product. Ball comes loose, but they say Benson was down. Oakland has had its trouble against the run this year, JC, something we talked about a moment earlier, but a lot of that starts up front on their defensive ends.
It does, and they really expect a lot out of Derek Burgess. He had a hernia surgery in training camp, only had 12 snaps in the preseason. Hasn't been himself, only 10 tackles and 1 sack all year long, and they're hoping that he can regain his form, and they say that he's starting to get back there. If they're going to be good on defense, he's got to be one of their guys.
2nd and 8 for Chicago. The pitch back to Benson. And Cedric Benson rambles close to a Bears first down before being taken down by the tackle Gerald Warren. A gain of 7 for Chicago.
And the Bears are a running team, and that's what Lovie said. He said when they get off the bus, they want to run the ball, and they haven't done a good job of it this year. And today, they've got to commit to it and stick to it. Even they may have a couple no gains, a couple runs for losses, but they've got to stick to it because this Raiders defense, they've given up a lot of yards the last 5 weeks on the ground.
The Bears rank 24th in 3rd down conversion percentage in the National Football League. Benson runs for the first down here.
You know, when we talked to Cedric Benson, he said he's heard all the talk about him maybe not being the right guy. And, you know, obviously last year with he and Thomas Jones here, they were a good 1-2 punch. And now that he's the guy that has to be the featured guy, he hasn't really produced. And they know that he's got to step up. He knows he has to step up.
A team that has defined itself running the football for so many years has struggled in that category this season. Nickel package on the field for Oakland. Greasy's pass is caught for another Bears first down. Bernard Berrien, Chicago's leading receiver, will move the chains for the Bears, a gain of 11.
Well, there's going to be some room to throw the ball today. Obviously, we talked about Fabian Washington and Nnamdi Asomugha. They're 2 top cover corners being out today. So Stanford Route, Chris Carr, they've got to step in. You know, they've got to help those guys out. Those guys, even though they are decent man-to-man guys, they're not like their top 2 guys. They've got to play some zone and help those guys out, protect them.
Benson tackled for a loss. Thomas Howard got in there from that linebacker spot. The Raiders defense is driven by great linebacker play, and it's Howard that makes the tackle for loss here.
Yeah, they've got some good young backers. Thomas Howard, Kirk Morrison, those guys are very active guys. They're aggressive guys, but they're very athletic, and they drop back in pass coverage. Kirk Morrison has 3 interceptions. Thomas Howard has 2 himself, and both of those went all the way back for touchdowns.
Devin Hester's on the field, lined up with wide receiver, split at the bottom of your screen. Clock rolling with 5 minutes left in this opening quarter. Greasy looks down the sideline again, and that one's incomplete. Again intended for Berrien. Stu Schweigert had the coverage for Oakland. 3rd and 18. Again, Devin Hester on the field as a receiver. The dump-off pass to Adrian Peterson, who caught a career-high 6 passes against Detroit before the bye. And the Bears will fall well short of the first down. And takes over on top 3-0. They start this possession at their 18-yard line. And McCown's first down pass is caught by Jerry Porter. So it marches him back 10 yards, a 1st and 20. This is a pitch back to Fargas. And not a lot of room around the corner as Chicago had great pursuit, led as always by Lance Briggs. Lance Briggs is back in a familiar part of the country and perhaps showing Brian Urlacher the way. He's from Sacramento, California, and grew up a 49er fan until, that is, the Raiders decided to come back to Oakland from Los Angeles, and then he changed allegiances. Told us yesterday that His first start in the league came against the Raiders when he lined up opposite one of his boyhood idols, Jerry Rice.
Yeah, and he also told us that today is like a playoff game for the Bears, and that's how they're approaching it. They have to win today. It's a must-win for them.
The dump-off pass to Fargas. And there once again is Lance Briggs, who's really made his presence felt early this afternoon.
And there again, in passing situations, they're going to play that cover 2 where they deny the deep ball, force the ball to be thrown short, and now those guys can rally up. And Lance Briggs, Urlacher, all those guys are very athletic guys that can run, and that's kind of what this defense is built on. They're not the biggest defense in the league, but they've got a lot of good athletes that can run.
3rd and long for Oakland, something Lane Kiffin told us Friday they're trying to avoid. They averaged 3rd and 11 and a half a couple of weeks ago against Tennessee. And the shovel pass, and man, did Justin Fargas pay the price. Adewale Ogunleye was right there to knock him on his duff.
Yeah, he read that from the very beginning. Watch it. Adewale right here. He reads it. He doesn't get up the field. He reads the play. Robert Gallery just runs right by him. Robert Gallery's got to hit him. Watch Gallery run right by Adewale Ogunleye, and now he just tees off on Fargas.
They'll start things at the 46. Garrett Wolfe in the backfield. And it is Wolfe that takes the pitch. Tackled for a loss. He's down at the 40-yard line. Thomas Howard again for Oakland.
And you know, Matt, when we go back to that penalty, you're going to see Cooper come in. He gets hit in the back of the head by his own guy right there. He thinks it's Charles Tillman, so he gets up and he's going to get Tillman right there, and that pushes Tillman right there into Kondo. So it wasn't Tillman. That was what happened right there, is Cooper thought that Tillman had kicked him in the head when, in fact, it was his own guy.
Devin Hector split wide at the bottom of your screen. Greasy goes the other way and just overthrows his intended receiver, Bernard Berrien. As we check in once again in Los Angeles with Kurt Menefee.
We showed you the Cowboys scoring in their opening possession. How about the Giants answering right back? Eli Manning finds Jeremy Shockey for an 8-yard score, and this game's all even at 7 in the first quarter. Matt and JC.
Dallas and the Giants going at it shootout fashion like they did earlier in the season.
That's a big game in that NFC East, as you can see right there. I like those red jerseys.
Really?
Yeah.
3rd and 14. And Greasy with time in the pocket. That pass is interrupted. Chris Carr, the 3rd-year man out of Boise State, who's making just his 2nd career start, is there to get in the way for Oakland.
He's not in. It's not the right time. Not for this team. They're 2-6, yes, but if they win today, they're still a game out of first place. So it's not time to go with Jamarcus Russell.
Jamarcus Russell was on the field earlier this afternoon. In fact, really early this morning before most folks were even on the freeway. And Russell getting closer and closer to being able to play in the NFL.
Yeah, he looks good. Obviously a big, strong kid that can throw the ball, and that's why he was the #1 pick overall. But he's just not ready right now to step in because, you know, let's be honest, all young quarterbacks struggle. And when you're still in the hunt, even though you're 2-6, you're still in the hunt in your division. You can't afford to do that.
With 8 in the box, the pass is complete to Jerry Porter for an Oakland first down. 1st and 10 for the Raiders at their own 31. Justin Fargas is met after a gain of maybe a yard or 2 by Adam Archuleta. Well, the Bears know when they started playing today that the Packers shut out Minnesota this morning. 34-0. In fact, Minnesota shut out for the first time since 1991. And Chicago is in jeopardy of really falling off the pace in the North.
Yeah, and that's why it's a playoff game for them. And that's the feeling that they have, and that's the mentality that they came into the game with. Is, you know, they feel like they've got to win the rest of their games, get to 11-5, and that would be good enough to get them into the playoffs. I don't know if 10-6 will get them there.
Fargas again, and again maybe only a yard or 2, as Lance Briggs is among those there on the stop for the Bears. In the Super Bowl era, only 7 different NFC teams have started 3 or 5 and worse and moved on to the playoffs. And the Bears did it twice. They did it in 77 and 79, but you know, still it's an uphill battle when you start at 3 and 5.
And if they do it, it's got to start with the defense. You know, obviously that's what got them there to the Super Bowl last year, and they just have to make more plays defensively. And that's what Levy said. Guys have to get off blocks. They have to maintain their gap control, and they've got to make plays.
On 3rd and 8, McCown looking for Dominique Rhodes, and he's sacked at the 25-yard line. Brian Urlacher came in to fall on him.
That's the one thing they got to do. Watch Agunlier come off the edge as well, and then Urlacher come inside. Urlacher's going to keep fighting, but it's Agunlier right there that really knocks him down, and Urlacher kind of cleans him up, but now they just brought more than the Raiders had to block.
In their first handful of possessions, Greasy in the offense back to work here. The quick pass to Devin Hester is sniffed out early. Chris Carr was all over it, and Hester tackled for a loss.
And obviously, they want to stop Devin Hester today, not only on offense, but on punt returns. And watch 57, Ricky Brown right there. He's going to do a good job at the end of this play. What the Bears try to do is they try to wall everybody inside. You see they've got a block there and a block there. They try to wall everybody in, get to the edge. But watch Ricky Brown, 57 right there, turns the ball back inside to the pursuit. If he stays outside, he's gone.
And the handoff to Seth Benson, and it looked like he left his footing. Benson tackled at the line of scrimmage as we check in on the field with the third member of our broadcast crew, Amy Gutierrez.
All right, Matt. Well, the official word on Jared Cooper is he's still under observation. Medical staff spent a good 5 minutes checking his reflexes, seeing if his hand could grasp, and checking his eyesight. He definitely looks short of breath. He got a little banged up, but official word is he's still under observation. Back to you.
Amy, thanks. Not good news for the Raiders, already without Asamoah and Washington in their secondary today. 3rd and 9 for Greasy. And the pass caught over the middle. Plenty of running room for Muhsin Muhammad. Forced out of bounds at the 38 by Stu Schweigert. A big gainer for Chicago, a 24-yard pickup.
And Muhsin Muhammad is a guy that has to get the ball more in this offense. We talked about their struggles running the ball, and they're not a real vertical passing team, but a guy like Muhsin Muhammad, who's a big guy that can catch the ball, very reliable, he's a guy that they have to throw the ball to. He can make some plays for Brian Greasy, really make it easier for him. And the problem is, coming into the game, he was 5th on their pass receiving chart. You know, behind guys like Clark and Peterson and Olsen, tight ends and running backs, they've got to get him the ball.
Cedric Benson is stopped at the 40-yard line. More frustrations for Benson in the Chicago rushing game so far this afternoon. They have rushed for a combined 15 yards.
Yeah, and he's got to hit it. The problem with Cedric Benson is he starts to tiptoe at the line of scrimmage some. Watch right here. You can't do that. He's a big guy. He wants to get his shoulders square. If there's not anything there, he's got to pound the defense. He can't go sideways. He's got to pound it. That's what wears the defense down. And then in the 4th quarter, you're able to run through some guys.
3 of their 10 rushing plays have resulted in a loss. A 4-receiver set for Greasy. And the pass caught by the tight end Desmond Clark, who's still going. Another Chicago first down. Desmond Clark, like Brian Greasy, another one of the ex-Broncos, well familiar with playing here in Oakland.
And the adjustment that the Bears are making is they're spreading this Raiders defense out, and they're making them play nickel and dime. They understand that their top 2 corners are out, so what you want to do is make them have to go to their 5th or 6th corner when they play nickel and dime. And now they're back to their base personnel.
They moved Muhammad before the snap. They hand off to Cedric Benson. He breaks his biggest run of the afternoon as Stu Schweigert made the stop in the secondary for Oakland.
And that's what he's got to do. He's got to just keep those shoulders square and hit the line of scrimmage on those inside zones and leads. Watch him. He's going to have some vision. He's going to cut back right there. Great job. He still had a little stutter in him, but he's got to plant that foot and be definitive and get up the field.
Benson averaging an NFL low 3.1 yards per carry. That's a number that's just bound to improve. Benson again patiently dances behind a block and is tackled inside the 15 by Chris Carr.
You know, with Cedric Benson, he knows that he's got to perform better. And Lovie Smith said, yeah, Cedric Benson has not run the ball as well as any of us wanted him to run it at this point, but it's just not on him. The offensive line has got to block better. The receivers got to block down the field better, but they've got to just get him past the initial wave, and part of that is Cedric Benson has got to make a guy miss.
play action. And Greasy's pass is caught. It's the tight end, John Gilmore, who makes just his second reception of the year, and there's a flag on the play.
You got to get to the red zone. You got to score points, and you don't get there very often. You're not going to win many games.
On 1st and 14, nobody bought the fake. I should have bought an English grammar book. Turdell Sands is there to make the tackle for Oakland. The big one, 6'7", 335. It reminds a lot of longtime Raider fans of Charles Filyaw from their championship teams of the 70s. He is a load.
You got to make those guys run side to side. You can't run right at a big guy like that. And, I talked about this Raiders run defense and how bad they've been the last 5 games. Miami had 141, San Diego over 200, Kansas City over 100. And, last week against Houston, they gave up 178.
2 tight ends on the field for Greasy with a pocket collapsing. He gets out of trouble and throws it away. Muhsin Muhammad, the closest Bear jersey.
That's not a bad thing for the Bears. We've talked all day that the problem this offense has had is turnovers, and Greasy's thrown 10 interceptions the last 5 games, and he's got to cut that down. And that wasn't a bad thing. If it's nothing there, just throw the ball away. Now it's 3rd and long, but at least you maintain possession and can come away with at least 3 points.
Getting back to what you talked about earlier, Lovie Smith said he will not turn the ball over on Sunday.
No, if he does, Rex Grossman took a lot of snaps in practice this week.
The handoff is to Adrian Peterson. And Peterson gets back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe a yard or so deeper.
Dominic Rhodes, whatever he's done or not done, he's kind of fallen out of favor here in Oakland.
1st and 10 for McCown. Justin Fargas in the backfield. And that one is incomplete, intended for Jerry Porter. Porter well covered on the play as Tremaine McBride, the rookie 7th rounder out of Mississippi, had the play read well. McBride making his 4th start this afternoon in the absence of Nathan Vasher, who continues to once again mend the partially torn groin that's held him out since week 3.
Yeah, well, McBride's played pretty well. In their last game against Detroit, he got beat a couple of times, but with that offense up there, they do that.
Fargas with a big seam, but he takes a big hit shy of the 1st down. Danielle Manning knocked him on his duff.
And that's what Fargas takes, those kind of shots. If you watch the Raiders play every game, he takes a big shot and he pops back up, but he runs straight up and down. He's a tough kid. Watch how high he is. He's got to get those pads down. That's a big shot by Manning, but again, Fargas, that's his running style.
He's been compared to Marcus Allen, both USC guys. The difference is Marcus used to put the pads down.
Yeah, he didn't take those kind of shots.
And Fargas stumbles ahead for the 1st down.
But that's what they like about Fargas is his toughness and his attitude, and that's what he brings to this offense. This offense wants to be a physical, pounded out type of a running offense. They just weren't getting that with Lamont Jordan. And obviously, Jordan lost his position. He wasn't real happy about it either, but Fargas was just running better than he was.
32 yards on the ground for Fargas on 9 carries here in the 2nd quarter. 1st and 10 for Oakland. New Raider Tim Dwight in motion, and they flip it to Dwight around the end. And Tim Dwight maybe nets a yard on the play, tackled by Hunter Hillenmeyer and Charles Tillman. The 10-year veteran who was sitting home on the couch when the phone rang. The Raiders had a need at receiver, and he caught a touchdown pass last week against the Texans.
Yeah, he did. But the thing that this Chicago Bears defense does a lot is they'll jump Urlacher and Lance Briggs. They'll jump those guys up into the line of scrimmage and force the offensive lineman to have to block down. And the reason they do that is they want to get a running back blocking one of their defensive ends. And that's a mismatch. So those guys will jump in there, they'll bail out. Sometimes they'll come. You see there's Lance Briggs right there.
2nd and 8.
Now they drop out into coverage.
Bears rush 4. And McCown steps up and dumps it off. Lance Briggs is there to make the tackle on Justin Fargas after a 5-yard gain. Justin Fargas from Josh McCown. Clock ticking, under 4.5 minutes remain in the opening half. 3rd and 3 for Oakland at the Raiders 38.
You know, I talked about those guys jumping in the line of scrimmage. That's why the Raiders, they're going to go to a lot more shotgun formations today just to give their linemen time to react to that. And those linebackers bail out of there. They can get a big guy on a big guy, not force a running back to block one.
3rd and a manageable 3 for the Raiders. And that one is batted away. Tremaine McBride was draped all over Jerry Porter. There was no place to put that football.
Told the world, we're going to kick the ball to Devin Hester, and people didn't believe him. And now you see that they're doing it.
He's returned 5 kicks for only 44 yards. First down pass complete to Muhsin Muhammad past the 30-yard line.
And the thing that they've done such a good job of, watch all these guys coming down and maintaining their lanes. That's the key to punt coverage. Everybody's got to maintain their lane. Then watch him right. He doesn't buy 86 right here. Tony Stewart, he doesn't buy the fake back here. He's going to maintain leverage outside. Everybody flows with him, and now there's nowhere for him to run. Those guys maintain great coverage lane.
Cedric Benson forges ahead for a gain of 3 as we check in once again in Los Angeles with Kurt Menefee.
Well, the Cowboys and Giants exchanged touchdowns early in the game and then kind of settled in. That is until Ruben Drone scores with 4.5 minutes to go in the first half, and the Giants own a 4-point lead late in the first half. Matt and JC.
Well, look at the G-men in your red jerseys.
You don't like them.
No. You know what? That's because you're a Chiefs guy. For more on the Cowboys and Giants, go to foxsports.com/GameTracks or NFL.com. 2nd and 7 for Chicago. And Greasy's pass caught for another Bears first down. And you can hear the Bears fans making some noise here in Oakland. The cheer of Moose for Muhsin Muhammad, a pickup of 13 yards.
Over 100 yards receiving.
Mark Bulger throws for over 300 yards in that Ram win. Oh, here they come. Greasy never had a chance as Kirk Morrison, the Oakland native, drops him at the 34. Rex Grossman hasn't played since week 3. He did take more snaps in practice this week, as JC mentioned earlier, and Grossman is back at quarterback for Chicago. They split Devin Hester wide to the top of your screen. And Grossman goes down on his first snap in some time. It's in Rex Grossman's hands for now. 3rd and 19 for Chicago. After a Raider timeout, Oakland trying to get the ball back before halftime. This is Peterson, who, after a modest gain of maybe a yard or 2, is tackled by Kirk Morrison, who's really come alive here before the half.
Week that they have a home game, he kind of does the same thing.
Over a minute left for the Raiders with 2 timeouts before half. And it looks like the reception to Ronald Curry will fall shy of the first down marker. A gain of 9 for Oakland. Curry's first reception of the afternoon. The Raiders with one timeout remaining. And before the pocket collapses, he gets it out to Fargas, does McCown, who's tackled at the 45-yard line. 1st and 10 Raiders with 44 seconds left in the half. McCown from the shotgun. Ronald Curry gets out of bounds after a gain of a couple of yards. Knocked out of bounds by Charles Tillman. We remind you to stay with us for the Visa Halftime Show. A complete recap of all the early NFL action. And games that certainly affect the Chicago Bears. The Packers shutting out Minnesota. Detroit losing in Arizona. It's a 10-7 Cardinals lead in the second quarter.
You see Jerry Porter there. You know, this Raiders roster makeup, they only have 4 wide receivers on their team. And, you know, one is a rookie and Johnny Lee Higgins, and the other, Tim Dwight, is a guy who was on the street a couple weeks ago. So they're real thin at the wide receiver position.
McCown tucked it away, and down he goes. Ogunleye was in there for the tackle and sack for Chicago.
Then I had a chance to catch up with Raiders coach Lane Kiffin, who said he's very, very happy with the containment of Devin Hester. Certainly a storyline here. And he but he said offensively they got to get going. They got to get this machine going. And defensively they've got to get some turnovers. Guys, back to you.
All right, Amy, thanks. So not much of the coaches' speak has changed after the first half. That's the same kind of thing that Lovey and Lane were saying leading into this game today.
Yeah, no question. And offensively, neither one of these offenses were high-powered offenses coming into the game today. You know, they just have to put some drives together, and there's been a problem for them. You know, the positive side for the Raiders is that offensive line hasn't had as many penalties as they normally do.
Justin Fargas with a couple of carries to start the second half, the second of which results in a first down pending the flag.
Have very many big plays for either team offensively.
So after the hold, the Raiders are marched back, and it's 3 straight handoffs to Justin Fargas. This time he's taken down by Brian Urlacher. Fargas ran for 104 yards against Houston in the loss last week. This is just his 9th career start. So 3rd and 13 for the Raiders now. Briggs showed pressure. He drops back into coverage, and the pass is incomplete. Intended for Ronald Curry. And Rex Grossman under center. Grossman took over for Brian Greasy at the end of the first half. Greasy down with a bad left shoulder. Rex goes deep over the middle, and the pass is caught by Muhsin Muhammad. First down, Chicago. A 33-yard pickup.
And the Raiders bring the blitz, and they expose those cornerbacks. They play zero coverage. You're going to see Michael Huff right here. He's going to come off the edge, and now there's nobody in the deep middle. Muhsin Muhammad runs that post, and Stanford route has no help in the middle of the field.
So perhaps now with Grossman at quarterback, the Bears will take advantage of the depleted Oakland secondary. They hand off to Cedric Benson, goes for naught. He is tackled near the line of scrimmage, no gain. You know, we went on the air today, JC. We talked about how the Raiders secondary is without Fabian Washington, without the Pro Bowler Nnamdi Asomugha, and yet the Bears really haven't been able to take advantage of that today.
No, they haven't, and on that one, obviously the play before, they were able to do that, but you know, Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator, he said that they were going to have to change a little bit, and you know, it's tough to change for some guys to change, and he's a guy that likes to play a lot of bump and run man-to-man, and it really hurt him on that last play. He's got to help those guys out and play some more zone coverage for him.
Devin Hester in motion with Benson in the backfield. Grossman with all kinds of time as Hester took a lot of attention, and Rex will just throw it away. You know, to bring you up to speed on Rex Grossman and the roller coaster season that he's endured, he, of course, starting with the Super Bowl disappointment last year, had to go through a lot of criticism all summer long, all spring long. He started the season as the #1 quarterback for Chicago, threw 1 touchdown pass and was picked off 6 times in 3 games. The fans were calling for Greasy. They got their wish in week 4, but now due to injury, Grossman is back out there here in week 10.
And the problem, the main problem is, of course, the turnovers, the interceptions that as we saw. He has 32 in 5 years, and he just has to cut those down.
The deep jump ball into the corner. Bernard Berrien, and it's batted away. So the Raiders take over in good field position. McCown and Oakland from the 43-yard line. On play action. And McCown making something out of nothing. He gets back to the line of scrimmage before being tackled by Brian Urlacher. JC, are you at all surprised at what's happened regarding the Bears and the rest of the NFC North this year?
Well, I think at the midseason point, my surprise team is the Green Bay Packers. I mean, who would have thought that they'd be 8-1 right now with, you know, Brett, a lot of question coming into the season if Brett Favre was actually going to come back, and they had a young team. They're the youngest team in the NFL, and you know, you look up at the halfway point, and they're 8-1.
Justin Fargas tackled at midfield. Tommy Harris on the stop for Chicago after a 6-yard gain. Well, the Packers were big winners today, shutting out Minnesota at Lambeau 34-0. And that young defense you talked about, JC, seems to have really made an impact in Green Bay.
No question. And those young receivers. Greg Jennings has made huge plays all year long. And Donald Driver, of course, is still that old wily veteran out there. Those guys right now at just beyond the halfway point, 8-1 and sitting atop the North.
Well, people watching in Chicago are just bristling with the fact that the Packers made error on a Bears telecast. The ball is out and recovered by Chicago. Keep your eyes peeled for a red challenge flag. It looked like Fargas may have been down, but much to the chagrin of the home crowd, Lane Kiffin decides not to challenge the Fargas fumble. So Grossman and the Bears take over at the 43-yard line. Cedric Benson across the 45 and down at the 47 as he's tackled by Derek Burgess.
And you see on that fumble by Fargas, the reason they didn't challenge it is because he wasn't down. Watch him come down on top of Hunter Hillenmeyer right there. And nothing on Fargas has touched the ground. And then that ball pops out. Get another look at it. He falls down on Hillenmeyer, and then that ball hits his face mask and comes out.
Well, the Bears have lamented their negative takeaway advantage all year, but they take one away here in the second half, as Burgess is again there to make the tackle on Cedric Benson. It's a familiar story for the Raiders. 23 fumbles this year to lead the NFL.
You know, Cedric Benson, and we've talked all game about the lack of running game for the Bears. And when you watch Cedric Benson, the thing that really jumps out at me is he doesn't make guys miss. He's just a straight ahead guy. And, you know, he may break a tackle or two, but he doesn't make a guy miss. And you know, the Raiders are playing with 8 guys in the box, and somebody's always going to be on block, and that's the running back's responsibility to make that guy miss.
On third down, Peterson in the backfield, and the pass to Peterson for a Chicago first down. And that's a play that Lovie Smith is liking more and more in each subsequent week. We talked about Peterson catching a career-high 6 balls against Detroit 2 weeks ago. And he has been used as a target out of the backfield now on 3 occasions successfully today.
Yeah, and that's his strength because he gets matched up on linebackers. And that time, Thomas Howard was covering him, and he just beat Thomas Howard to the outside. Got the first down.
Cedric Benson checking into the back of the eye with Jason McKee. And Grossman's pass is incomplete. The official was there to say it was on the turf when Muhsin Muhammad picked it up and tried to sell it.
Almost a great grab by Muhsin Muhammad. Got those big, strong hands. He almost pulled that off the grass. See that off coverage. He's just going to run a comeback right here. Almost pulls that ball in.
Muhsin Muhammad with a game-high 87 receiving yards on 4 catches today. He continues to zero in on 10,000 for his career. Cedric Benson moving a pile up to the 35.
Cedric Benson off left guard.
You know, another guy that's been quiet for the Chicago Bears team is Greg Olsen, the tight end, who's the #1 choice this year. And in the last 4 weeks, he's been their leading receiver. You know, Brian Griese felt real comfortable with him. He 19 catches in the last 4 games. And doesn't have any today. And he's a guy that's capable of making some plays for you. And they've got him split all the way outside now, working against Michael Huff.
Nickel defense on the field for Oakland on 3rd and 4. Nearly picked off. Michael Huff, Ced Benson's old teammate at the University of Texas. It has not been true of late. McCown from the end zone has to get rid of it. Boy, and Josh McCown very close to taking a safety at the back of the end zone. Hunter Hillenmeyer had the coverage in the pursuit for Chicago.
No foul for intentional grounding. Quarterback was out of the pocket.
He's
got back to the line of scrimmage.
And you can see he's clearly outside of that tackle box. The question they're saying is, did he step out of bounds before he threw the ball? But, you know, obviously not. But he's got to expect that this Bears defense is going to bring a lot of pressure, because even if they run the ball and they're blitzing, everybody's in a gap, and if it's passed, those guys are coming. Watch those linebackers.
Oakland trying to create some running room. Justin Fargas nets maybe a yard or 2 before being tackled by the 2-time Pro Bowler Tommy Harris.
And 2 to the 4.
These were situations all year last season en route to the Super Bowl where the Chicago defense would smell the blood and they would swarm, create, and dominate.
Yeah, they bring those linebackers down, but now it's 3rd and long.
Fargas breaks out of a couple of tackles and has an Oakland first down.
That was a big 3rd down run by Justin Fargas, and the reason is because if it's 4th down, they've got to kick the ball away. The Bears get great field position. And watch these linebackers. They're going to flow this way, but they're just going to miss the tackle. Hunter Hillenmeyer right there, 92, misses. Lance Briggs, 55, he misses the tackle, and Fargas runs up the field for a first down. That was a huge play for the Raiders.
Boy, on 3rd and long, the Raiders run for the first down deep in their own territory. Just run, baby, has been the credo of this year's Raiders. On play action, McCown the time, and the pass is incomplete. Ronald Curry couldn't hang on after breaking free of the coverage. So 1st and 10 now from the 29. Fargas again, he is met soundly at the line of scrimmage. A gain of a yard.
Again, on those early downs, they're going to stack the box. They're going to have 8 guys. All these guys here in the box, 8 guys, and they're all attacking. They're all coming forward at the snap. They're anticipating run. You can see they do a good job up front being firm at the line of scrimmage.
The Raiders have almost doubled the Bears' rushing yardage total so far today. Chicago ranked 26th against the run this year. Hillenmeyer and Urlacher combine on the tackle of Justin Fargas. Well, this is hardly the deep drop in the vertical passing game that the Raiders used to have so much success with back in the 70s and 80s. It's a steady diet of Justin Fargas today, and quite frankly, that's exactly what the Bears anticipated.
Those linebackers up in those A-gaps right there. Urlacher and Lance Briggs.
3rd and 8, look out. McCown gets it away before being taken down by Hunter Hillenmeyer.
And again, it just messes up the blocking scheme of the Raiders. And then Josh McCown, you can see the frustration there. He just has to throw that ball away.
So after the Bears bench shoots itself in the foot, the guys on the field are able to come up with the stop and give Devin Hester another opportunity at a Shane Leckler return.
Yeah, what he's got to do is he just has to hit it. He can't dance around and change directions and cross fields. He just got to catch it and go.
Big punt. That'll back Hester up to the 11. And there goes Devin Hester. Flag is down on the field. Hester gets a block and he's tackled at the 27, but this whole thing may be coming back.
But did you see him just catch it and go? No hesitation, no dancing around. He just hit it. That's a big penalty, and now they're backed up, and they've got to be careful not to turn the ball over. This crowd has really gotten into this game.
Half the distance to the goal from the spot of the return. Cedric Benson around the corner. And Benson has a big run near the first down marker before being bumped by Stuart Schweigert. A gain of 9 on first down for the Bears. So that'll do a little something to help Cedric Benson's per carry average today. Averaging just 2.6 yards a carry this afternoon. He started play at just over 3 yards a carry last in the NFL. 2nd and a yard. Benson dancing and taken down by Big Turdell Sands as we check in with Big Kurt Menefee. Grossman 2 of 6 for 43 yards since entering at the end of the first half for Brian Griese. From the end zone, he dumps it off to Benson. And Benson is taken down at the 15-yard line. Very close to a first down for Chicago.
Yeah, good effort by Benson, and he made a guy miss, and that was one thing I talked about earlier that he wasn't doing a lot of. And that time he catches the little check down and makes a guy miss and gets up the field and gets a huge first down for the Bears.
They do in fact move the chains. First down Chicago. 1st and 10 from the 15. Grossman with play action. A wide open Bernard Berry in there for another Bears first down. Chris Carr had the coverage for Oakland.
And this is something the Bears, you would think, would try to take advantage of more. We've been talking all day about the Raiders having their backup corners in the game. Bernard Berry just comes and he just pushes Carr, turns his hips, and now Berry just curls up. And it's an easy throw for Rex Grossman, but you got to challenge those guys outside. Make those guys have to make some plays. Remember, they're backup guys. If they were that good, they'd be starters.
Cedric Benson running left. And taken down at the 30-yard line by Kirk Morrison.
Cedric Benson, the ball carrier, hit first by number 40, Jared Cooper.
Part of the Bears' problem offensively this year has been their first down productivity. Chicago's offense gaining a league low 4.27 yards on first down. And that's something Lovie Smith made a point to tell us when we met with him yesterday. That's got to change.
Yeah, no question, because then it gets them in second and long and third and long situations like they're in now, and that their offense is not built for those types of situations.
Grossman under siege. He somehow escapes and turns it into plus yardage, tackled at the 32 by Thomas Howard.
Brought down in the arms of Thomas Howard.
These guys have got to get open down the field. You see Muhsin Muhammad coming down, working on Stanford route. Route in good position, and then on the other side, Chris Carr working against Berry. Look at him jump inside. Starts outside, and then he jumps inside of him. Berry runs that in route. There's nobody to throw the ball to.
Would you ever have thought the Raiders secondary would hold up this well without Asamoah and Washington?
No, they've done a good job. Those backup guys have got to get a lot of credit.
Out of the shotgun, Grossman goes up top for Hester, overthrown. The Raiders we talked about, if they can beat Chicago today, they'll be just a game off the pace at 3-6. Another low-scoring close one in a series of those such games between these clubs. And McCown's pass is incomplete as he tried to get it once again to Ronald Curry.
Yeah, and all you do here is, either run the draw or throw a little check down pass. You don't want to get in any trouble and throw an interception.
It is Fargas and the draw, and a productive one at that will still fall shy of a first down as he's tackled at the 30-yard line. First and 10 for Rex Grossman. His first down pass is complete. Bernard Berry nets a couple of yards before being tackled at the 26. Well, a Thanksgiving tradition, football and turkey, and a great matchup for you on Fox. The Packers and Lions, two of the biggest surprises in the NFL. Coverage begins at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, 11:30 Eastern rather. That is 8:30 a.m. Pacific. Wake up early on Turkey Day and join us on Fox.
Yeah, and when's the last time the Lions have played a really meaningful game on Thanksgiving? It is this year.
Look out, Rex Grossman is sacked by Chris Clemens. Did he get rid of the football? Oh, Chris Clemens came in unabated and piled on for the sack.
See, Clemens, he's going to come in virtually untouched. John Tate blocks down. It's too late. He tries to look outside too late. And Clemens is untouched. Look at Tate. His head's inside, and now, it's too late by now. Clemens is on your guys.
That is ruled a sack for the former Redskin, as they say that Rex Grossman was unable to get rid of the football. Here they come again. More pressure, and down goes Grossman at the 14. Derek Burgess trying to reclaim his status as one of the sacking elite in the AFC.
Now they've got the ball at midfield because of his great effort of getting up there and catching the ball.
Biggest test of the afternoon for the Bears defensively as the Raiders start with their best field position of the game, as Hunter Hillenmeyer is there to make the tackle on Justin Fargas. Fargas has had all kinds of opportunity today. 20 carries for 78 yards.
A guy that's kind of been quiet is Brian Urlacher. He was their big guy, or is their big guy on defense. And, he's been battling that back injury. He's got that arthritic back. And, and just watching him play, I think it's a little worse than he's letting everybody on to, because he's not moving the same.
Dominique Rhodes with his first carry of the game is good for a couple of yards. Adam Archuleta makes the tackle.
You know, in the pregame, he and Dante Culpepper had a couple friendly words, and you can see him trying to stretch that back out, and Dante's going to come and hit him on the back, and watch the face that Urlacher gives him. He's like, what, on my back? And then he notices it's Dante, and, oh, hey, what's going on, man? And Dante apologizes for hitting him on that sore back, and, you know, I think that back is bothering him, like I said earlier, a little more than he's led them to believe.
We have not called Brian Urlacher's name very often today by his own standards. McCown's pass is nearly picked off. Trumaine McBride was close to an interception once again, as that one was intended for Jerry Porter.
The winner of that will probably play Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship, so Ohio State could get back in there. 2nd
and 7, Benson again. Gets away from Derek Burgess, but does not get away from Thomas Howard.
Does that make sense to you now?
I buy it, I guess. I was ready to call you a hater for keeping Ohio State out of there, but you rationalized it well.
Yeah, you lose to a team that has 3 losses already. It's tough to keep you up there in the top 5.
And just a note for all the people watching back in Rockford, Illinois, quit sending us text messages about the Salukis, okay? Southern Illinois is not in the conversation.
Not in my top 5.
3rd and 2. Benson, and it looked like he pushed the forward pile just far enough for a Chicago first down. You know, say what you will about Cedric Benson and the low average yards per carry and what has been a tough season for him. He will grind for the difficult inside the tackle box yards.
Yeah, that's the kind of runner he is, but he's not the guy that's going to break out and go 80 on you. His longest rush of the season is only 16 yards, and he's the only guy that, you know, this team doesn't have a 20-yard rush all year long. So they've got to find some explosion plays in the running game.
Play action. And Grossman with time. And room to get outside. The pass is incomplete. Tried to get it to Desmond Clark. Just to reset, as we talked about when we went on the air, Lance Briggs was among those that told us this is a playoff game for the Chicago Bears today. Green Bay has won in rather convincing fashion at home over Minnesota. Detroit is showing signs of life in Phoenix. The Bears can ill afford a Week 10 loss. They would fall too far back off the pace in the minds of some.
Yeah, with not enough games left to play. And, you know, they came into this with the playoff mentality, and they've only put 3 points on the board. Well, they've got to do better offensively.
2nd and 10. And Benson again. He's wrapped up after a gain of maybe a yard. Robert Thomas on the tackle for Oakland. Once again, the Packers moving to 8-1 with the victory today. Detroit is in action, trailing in Phoenix. It's 24-14 Cardinals. And then you find Chicago at 3-5. 3rd and 8 for the Bears. The Raiders have the nickel package on the field. Rex Grossman, 5 of 11, 72 yards since entering at the close of the first half. Pressure, incomplete. Nowhere to go as big Warren Sapp made his presence felt for the Raiders. Looking for his first completion here in the second half, and great field position again for the Raiders. They'll run it again with Fargas, who, by the way, was taken into the Raiders locker room during the last Bears offensive possession for observation on his hip. And apparently they have observed that Justin Fargas is okay to continue.
Yeah, he's not coming out of the game. Not with that mentality. He's a tough, hard-nosed kid that is getting an opportunity to be the starter. It's going to take more than just a hip injury to get him back out of that lineup.
2nd and 9. And Fargas again to midfield. You can hear the fans voicing their displeasure at the play calling.
Yeah, and you know, with a guy like Josh McCown, he's not a pocket passer. You've got to get him outside. You got to roll him out, bootlegs, sprint out. Give him a chance to make some plays with his legs like we saw in the opening drive of the ball game. And that's what they've gotten away from. They've got him just sitting in the pocket. That's not his strength.
Justin Griffith, the fullback, the lone back with McCown on 3rd and 8. And on the passing down, the short drop and the completion over the middle, and Oakland first down. Zach Miller there on the reception, the rookie tight end out of Arizona State.
And what he did very well on that play was pump the ball. And when he pumped the ball, that makes the defense hesitate for just a second. And now he just comes back to Zach Miller inside.
So 1st and 10. 1st and 10 Raiders. John Madsen resets. And McCown on play action. Can't get away from Adewale Ogunleye. You know, for the Raiders, this game is as important as it is for the Bears in terms of the race within their division. We talked about how Denver today, in losing to Kansas City, falls to 4-5. It's unfathomable to think that a 3-5 Raider team or a 3-6 Raider team could be just a game away from the top of the division, but that's the case if Oakland wins today.
Exactly. It's a huge game for both of these clubs to keep them in contention. As bad as their records are, they're still in it.
Denver beating Kansas City today, as I misspoke earlier. Flag down, and look out around the blind side. The ball comes free. Alex Brown had a clear shot on McCown.
Alex Brown, he got too good of a jump on this one. This is going to be a pretty easy call. Last week, if that ball had not have hit the upright.
Just the second time the Raiders have been in Chicago territory since their opening possession. There goes McCown. And he's tackled at the 33 by Hunter Hillenmeyer as we check in Los Angeles.
JC, you know I kid because I care.
And you care because we love you. More on the Cowboys and Giants. Go to foxsports.com/GameTracks or NFL.com. Justin Fargas net for a loss. Alex Brown not jumping off sides that time.
Yeah, those guys are getting off the ball up front. Alex Brown, Adewale Ogunleye. Watch those guys come off the ball. Everybody up front. Watch how fast they get off the ball. Alex Brown inside. Fights off the block. Ogunleye comes off the edge.
1st and 10 Chicago. 4:03 in regulation. The pitch to Benson. Nothing doing around the right side. Bear in mind, both teams have a full complement of timeouts left in the half.
Yeah, this Oakland Raiders defense has done a good job today getting after the quarterback. They've blitzed him 12 times. They've hit him 4 times. They've knocked him down. They've sacked him and really made life tough for the Bears quarterbacks. But also on those blitzes, those are also effective against the run because now you have guys jumping up in the gaps.
Well, that defense has made things easier on the backup cornerbacks playing for Oakland today. Grossman on a play fake. Has it complete to Benson. And Cedric Benson is out of bounds with a first down for Chicago.
Good little dump off to Cedric Benson, and you got to use whatever you have to use right now. You're trying to get in the field goal range, and what he did was use the referee in the middle of the field to knock off Robert Thomas. Watch Robert Thomas, number 55. He's going to play Cedric Benson, and watch what happens to him. He runs right into the ref and gets picked off.
1st and 10 for the Bears at the 41. Grossman with the big ball up top. Touchdown, Chicago! Bernard Berrien! A 59-yard touchdown strike.
And that's what this offense has to have, some big play capabilities. Rex Grossman threw a great ball, put a lot of air under it, allowed Bernard Berrien to just run under that ball. And look how surprised the sideline is, man. Hey, we scored a long touchdown to take the lead. And all the criticism Rex Grossman has had, that was a great pass. And have to wait till the last 3 minutes and 11 seconds, but this offensive line did a good job of giving Rex Grossman time. Look at everybody firmed up inside a great pocket. Then he just throws the ball, and the good thing about this ball is he puts air under it. Bernard Berrian right here runs that little stutter, gets Chris Carr to stop his feet, and now is able to just run under that ball for a touchdown.
Second touchdown of the season for Bernard Berrian, and real hard holding back the smiles if you're Rex Grossman.
That's a whole lot of frustration gone right there for Rex Grossman.
3:11 left in regulation for Oakland. Plenty of time for the Raiders, who once again have a full complement of timeouts.
You go back to this. Chris Carr's got to force him to release inside where the safety is. He lets him release outside, which is a free release. And now the stutter step right here forces Carr to stop his feet. And now Schweigert can't get there. He's too far away because he released down the sideline. And you play well all game long in that one play. You play badly and you give up a touchdown, and now you go from hero to GOAT, because those guys, both of those guys, Carr and Stanford Routt, had played pretty well up to that point.
Plenty of time left for McCown and the Raiders. And out of the shotgun. Pass is batted down at the line of scrimmage. Mark Anderson got the big paw up in the air. The second-year man who has made quite an impact in about a season and a half on that defensive end.
And we saw last series how those guys are teeing off, getting off the line of scrimmage, getting up the field. Now's the time that you want to move that pocket. Move Josh McCown, whether you bootleg him or sprint out. And now that buys him extra time, and those guys can't just converge on him, and he can try to look down the field and make a play.
The Bears dressed 7 defensive linemen today. All of them have played. Fresh legs defensively for Chicago. Pocket collapsing on McCown as he squirts away and has the pass caught by the tight end Zach Miller. And now they're saying no catch. And that ball was in the dirt. It is an incomplete pass as Miller picked it up off the turf.
Again, they're not giving McCown a good chance. Gounlier comes off the edge, and watch how fast the pocket collapses on McCown. It forces him to run outside, and now he's got to come and throw across his body, rolling to his left and trying to throw the ball. And that ball just squirts out of there, but just roll him out, get him away from some of that pressure.
The Raiders 4 of 14 on third down this afternoon.
Great jump by Gounlier.
Oh, look out. More pressure. Gounlier again. McCown with all kinds of time now. I mean, all kinds of time. The deep ball for Dwight is incomplete. Today, Jerry Porter has caught only 2 balls, and now the Bears can spend clock, try to convert on a first down. And perhaps on the strength of that big pass play to Bernard Berrian, get out of Oakland with a victory. 2nd and 8 for the Bears. Benson. Next up for Chicago at Seattle next week. Chicago 5 for 15 on third down today. Cedric Benson, a career-high 28 carries for him on the afternoon, and he is shy of the first down as the Raiders' run defense holds.
Yeah, and some people might say, why are you running the ball there, 3rd and 5, trying to get the first down? That was good because they keep the clock running.
McCown 10 of 22, just 69 yards on the afternoon, and down he goes. The football's free. And the Bears have recovered inside the 5. Israel Adonijah was there to jump on it, and that one's going to lock things up for Chicago.
Yeah, and again, just a sitting duck in the pocket with all those guys coming off the edge of Gounlier. Watch him right here. Just comes off the edge and just runs right around him. And again, McCown, the pocket collapses. He's got to try to run. Gounlier just knocks that ball out of there, working on Green. But again, if you can move McCown, get him outside the pocket, you alleviate a lot of that pressure. But the Raiders just would not do that today.
Now the Bears defense really showing some positive signs here to start the second half of the season. A team that was -10 in the takeaway giveaway equation has forced a couple of costly fumbles today, and this one recovered by the Bears, and it leads immediately to a Cedric Benson touchdown.
And that's the Chicago Bears way right there. That's what got them to the Super Bowl last year, is taking away the ball defensively, giving the offense great field position so that they don't have to go very far, and then they just pound it in. And that's the way they like to play. With the struggling offense, you know, their running game has been struggling, and Shaun Alexander probably won't play tomorrow.
And McCown can only dump it off to Ronald Curry, completed the 30-yard line. And it looks like they'll mark him just short of a first down. Time winding down on the Raiders in Week 10, who had an opportunity once again to gain ground on the top of the division in the AFC West. You know, but in fairness to the Raiders and Lane Kiffin, coach didn't want to hear any of the talk about catching the division leaders. He still feels like the Raiders aren't where they need to be, and they have certain fundamentals to straighten out before they can talk about playing with San Diego, Denver, and Kansas City.
Yeah, no question. He want those guys to play better, and they needed to play better. And you know, they made some plays in spurts, but you know, they just couldn't play well enough again today.
So with the Chicago defense playing back, McCown's able to complete a couple of passes for first downs. Still the Raiders under 200 yards of offense this afternoon.
They got a free play. We'll throw it down. You got a free play.
As McCown does into the end zone, trying for Johnny Lee Higgins, and it's incomplete. Talked about earlier. And McCown with 15 seconds left has a pass caught by Zach Miller. Raiders have one timeout left in 10 seconds in a 2-score game. So one of the things we talked about earlier, how so many of these Raiders-Bears matchups have been decided late, stands true today. 8 of the 12 between Chicago and Oakland have been decided in the fourth quarter. Maybe a couple of chances left for the Raiders to put some polish on this one. McCown into the corner of the end zone for Dwight, and it's intercepted. Danielle Manning with his second interception of the year. And that's going to wrap things up in Oakland this afternoon. It was a slow, plodding game for the first 3+ quarters, as in the end the Bears will walk away with a road victory in Oakland. We take a look at the UPS leaderboard. Rex Grossman started the afternoon on the bench. He came in for the injured Brian Griese, threw what would be the game-winning touchdown strike. UPS, what can Brown do for you? Do stay with us. The OT presented by Lowe's is coming up next.